Hey guys, I'm Jacqueline Zacharias with Zacharias Horsemanship. Today we're going to be starting a new colt starting series with this gelding, this Appaloosa gelding named Rocket. And in these videos, instead of focusing on a particular maneuver or exercise like I do in most of my videos, you're going to see a lot more real-time training and the process that I use to get this horse started under saddle. You guys really seem to enjoy the last one that I did, so I figured why not do another one. If you guys are ready, let's get started. So there are 3 exercises I teach my horses right off the bat, and the order in which I teach these exercises really kind of comes down to the horse and their demeanor. So the 3 exercises are the hip yield, or disengage, as some people call it, and then your lunging exercise and your backup, okay? And if I have a horse that's really forward and has a ton of energy when I bring him in the arena, the first thing that I'm going to do is doing the lunging exercise, because it has a horse that has a lot of energy often has a difficult time focusing on either the backup or doing the hip yield because they're so focused on wanting to go forward the whole time. So trying to teach them to keep their feet quiet and do this exercise can be counterproductive to what you want to do, and it can take a lot longer than if you get the horse moving out first, gain some control of those feet, some direction in the feet, and then work on those other ones. Now this horse doesn't seem to be a super high energy horse. What I notice is that he likes to crowd my space a lot, so I think the first thing that I'm going to work on is the backup to establish a little bit of respect there and a little bit of rapport, so he knows, hey, I got to kind of maintain my distance and give you a little bit of personal space here so he's not walking over me the whole time when we're trying to do those other exercises. I think that starting there would be a good place. The first thing that I like to do to make it much more clear to the horse and simple for them is to apply pressure to the nose under the halter here and then kind of tap on their chest. That kind of connects the dots for that horse, so that in the future when I do wiggle my rope and then kind of walk up to them and then that stick gets to them, they don't have this big panic attack. Like, what does that stick mean? You know, it can really startle them. Now, it looks like he's handling this pressure really well, but there are a lot of other horses who don't handle that pressure of the stick so well when it finally gets to them if you're starting way out here. So that's why I like to start right up here on the halter, apply that pressure, tap with that stick in the chest, and ask him to back up. He's doing really well with that, like I said. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is to walk him over here, and we'll start working on teaching him to get off that pressure of the rope. Because when I start lunging this horse or asking for the disengage, I don't want to have to go to that face the whole time, always to control his feet or back him up. Does that make sense? Okay. So I'm going to get about 4 feet of rope here. I'm not going to go way out here. That can just be super confusing for the horse. And if he walks off or runs off or has no direction there, then you're going to have to be catching a lot of rope before you can get him back under control again. So like I said, about 4 feet of rope. This is better for the signal for the horse. I'm just going to wiggle that rope there and step forward and make contact. Now, if you have a really touchy horse, I would highly recommend going to the chest instead of bumping them on the legs here. And I don't want to use a lot of pressure on those legs because we don't want to hurt these horses either. It's just a little bit of pressure there. Stepping back, step forward. And we're trying to use this rhythmic pressure to teach the horse that if I step towards you with this kind of energy, I want you to give me a little bit of space. I want you to back up. Keep me safe, okay? Once again, with that rope, just kind of step forward. There we go. Good job. Wiggle that rope, kind of step forward. Good job. Okay. Really nice. Good job. And what I don't like to do when working on this exercise is to back them up and then pull them forward again and then back them up and then pull them forward again. That just adds so much more confusion than if you just back them up consistently. Do that a few times, back them up, let them rest, back them up, let them rest. That solidifies things in the horse's mind so much faster. See, right here is a good start for where I can use that backup. He started just kind of walking around me instead of thinking about what I might want him to do. Let's work on this backup just a little bit more so I have a little more control. Good job. I don't want a ton of it. I'm not going to get this perfect right off the bat. It's just so that if I'm working on something else and I start to move that rope or add energy here, that horse knows how to back up, okay? That's the main thing we want. We want to have that little bit of understanding right there. Okay, I think that's good enough. Next thing I'm going to work on is the disengage here. This horse is quiet enough that we can start working on these exercises first versus sending him off. Now, when I see a horse respond like this, here's the thing. This horse is not trained to do the hip yield. He's just worried about me adding energy to his hip there. And you might be like, well, that's what we want, is for them to move away from the energy. And for me, not necessarily so much. Yes, I want them to get to the point where when I kind of add energy toward the hip, then he steps over. But right now, I don't want him to do a ton of that because he's just reacting. He's not responding to that pressure. So the first thing I try to do if I see a horse is just super touchy and doesn't even want me on that side, and I know that he's being protective instead of responsive, I'm going to rub him up here with the stick and just get him used to that, and then I'll gently start tapping. instead of just using my energy to move him over. There we go. So you can see he just flinched right there. You'll notice when I go to do this hip yield or this disengage that I kind of go in an arc around the horse, okay? Now I'm going to keep my hand up next to the shoulder here. This keeps the horse from blocking me. So I'm going to step over here so you guys can see. I keep my hand right here, and if I have to, if the horse tries to block me, I'll step in close. But I try to go in an arc here. I keep my hand up here to kind of block that face, and I step in toward that hip. So this horse can always see me in his eye. He knows what I'm doing and what I'm asking him to do. Versus if I just kind of sneak up here along a side and then start popping him on the butt. He's like, what's going on, man? You didn't tell me anything was going to happen, okay? So we want to give that horse fair warning and let him know what our intentions are. Again, put my hand up, block that shoulder if I have to, and step that hip around. Very nice. Good job. Obviously, you're going to want to work on these exercises probably quite a bit longer than what I'm going to show you in this video. For the sake of time, I show you guys how to get the exercise done. I work on it a little bit till that horse has a basic grasp of it, and then we move along. But obviously, we're going to work a lot longer to make these maneuvers much more consistent and clear to the horse what we're asking him to do before we go on to new things, okay? Step back in here. Till he kind of gets centered. He had the correct step several times, but he was still so nervous that I didn't feel like it was a very good response. It was more of a reaction at that point. So I just want to point that out in case you guys are wondering why I didn't release to one of those steps. That was really nice. Excellent. Good boy. Much more relaxed. Okay, so the third exercise that I'm going to work on the first day is the lunging exercise. And this to me is probably the most important exercise because whether you have a really quiet horse or a really flighty horse, it's very important to get some direction in those feet very quickly. And a lot of horses who are really distracted or flighty or jumpy or just completely zoned out on you, it's because they don't have a purpose. So put some purpose in those feet and you're going to solve a lot of your problems on the first day. Okay, let's get this horse moved out. I'm going to bring the stick up here and I'm not going to step around that horse. I'm going to ask him to step around me. Good job. He's going to stop right there because he doesn't know how to lunge. Bring that stick up and ask him to step around me. He's kind of coming in toward me, so I'm just going to bring my stick up and kind of bump him in that rib cage there and ask him to step out. Now, I would like to see a little more impulsion in these feet, but first off, I just want to see him maintain a circle. I'm not just going to push him out there. And another thing I can see very clearly here is that this horse is looking for an opportunity to leave. Good. Notice how when he's walking around here, this is better. This is much better. He's kind of focusing on me. I'm just going to rub him a little bit there. Push that shoulder out. There we go. Very nice. Notice how when he's walking around here, often that ear's focused toward the outside and that nose is kind of tipped out there. It's getting a little bit better because he's getting a little bit more trusty in me. But a lot of the time, he's kind of like, if I could just get out of here, this is a kind of uncomfortable situation, that would be really nice. So if I add more energy to that right now, I'm probably going to end up with a situation where this horse wants to drag me around and we're going to get in a fight and then it's going to get really ugly before it gets pretty again. So my philosophy is that no, I don't want to tiptoe around issues, but I also want to get that horse more relaxed before we start opening up that kind of a can of worms. Good. There we go. He's blowing a little bit. He's licking and chewing. We're going to just kind of relax and let him stop there. Good boy. I'm actually going to draw him in toward me here and pet him. Okay, so now that I think he's getting a little more relaxed, we're getting a little more focused, I'm going to ask him to come up to a trot. I'm going to give him quite a bit of line here. I don't like to do this on a really short line on these green horses. I'm going to give him quite a bit of rope. So right there, this is why we have the disengage here for a horse like this. And you'll notice that when I start lunging this horse off, I pay very close attention to what those eyes are doing. Once the shoulder starts to leave, it puts you in a very vulnerable position because that means the hip can come in and do this, okay? So let's go ahead and send him off again. Add a little bit of energy right there. Good, he stepped away from me. Lost my balance there a little bit. There we go. But anytime, there we go. I'd rather that hip be stepping away from me than stepping toward me. There we go. Okay. Step him around again. He's always wanting to leave. Anytime I feel that pressure on the nose, I'm just going to kind of step that hip away from me. Step him up. There. All right, give him that rope back. He's licking and chewing. I think he's starting to get the point a little bit. He's like, what just happened? There we go. I'm not going to be, there it is. I'm not going to be really hard on him here. Say, as long as you leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. There, the eye kind of came in toward me a little bit. He started to focus up a little bit. I'm going to bring my hand up here and just wait till he steps around and disengages. Not quite, not quite. There it was. Good job. Hey, big guy. Okay, let's go ahead and do the right side for the sake of time. Stepped off much better to that side. I like how that shoulder really cleared me. He's licking and chewing. He gets it. He's on the right track right now. He knows what I want him to do. He's walking out really freely right now. You can see there's not that tightness that there was when he started on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and ask him to trot. That's good. There we go. If he's pulling on me, I'll just draw him back in, step him off again. Pulling on me, draw that horse back in here, step him off again. So if it gets bad to the point where, see how now he's just kind of dragging me around a little bit, I'm going to bump that nose in and kind of go to that hip, draw him toward me, and then relax. Good. All right, we'll go again now. There we go. He's trotting around there. He trotted around there really nice and clean. Looking to the outside again. Just bump that nose. I'm not going to make too big a deal, but again, I don't want to put myself in an unsafe situation. Okay. Nope. I was about to disengage there, but there it was. I'm looking for those few steps where he's just really relaxed and aligned and his focus is on the inside of the circle, not somewhere else. Good job. Good job. Licking and chewing there. He's breathing really nicely. Good boy. All right, guys, so I hope you enjoyed this first session with Rocket. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them below and I'll try my best to get back to you guys and answer any questions you may have. I guess I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.